constructing error recognition multiple choice items. So you would want to construct a test that you want your learners to recognize the errors. Now, if you look at that example there, dash is shining brightly today, and you can see the several choices: the sun, the sun, a sun, some sun, and you can see your learners at some point maybe could pick sun or the sun, but it's no, because at some point they might want to avoid a sun or some sun. So when you're constructing this, you might want to consider what kind of errors are you going to indicate. So going on to the next slide.
Yes.
Yes, so these are some of the examples you can select when you're constructing a multiple choice test that has to do with error recognition. For example, if you look at type 1, you just need to have your learners select the underlying words of which is incorrect among all the ones that have been listed. So these are some of the tests you might have to consider when you're constructing an error recognition. Going on to the next slide.
Yes.
So if you look at the type that was there in the previous slide, you'll see that, for example, when you see sun is shining and looking the children, there's something missing there, because sun is shining. Maybe you should have begun with an article, the sun is shining, that is the error your learners would have recognized. And when you say looking the children, there's an omission there. So the omission is looking at the children. So you cannot test this type of item as an error recognition, because this is not an error, this is an omission error. So it's not you're not identifying the error in the sentence, it's simply what has been omitted. Going on. So after having the error recognition, sometimes you might need to construct a case where you are rearranging items. So what happens is that the first thing you must do is to identify in the options that you're giving. Are you able to construct two options that can simply stand out? If you look at the example there, you know how. For example, you say you know how it is, or you know how is it. That is a bit confusing for your students, because if they are to construct a sentence, you know how it is hard, maybe, to do this. You know how is it. No, that is a little bit confusing for your students. So how are you supposed to do that if you want to to construct a test that has to do with rearranging items? That we shall see in the next slide. How we're going to do that. Next slide, kindly. Thank you. Yes, so this is the most preferable way of doing it. You'd instead have the students rearrange. For example, won't I need a coat? Well, you know how. So from there now the students can pick the letters as they are. Uh, well, you know how warm it is today. So in that way, they're able to arrange the items in the correct way. If you look at the other one, wonder if dash since summer. So the students now again have to rearrange these words. Wonder if you have grown fatter since summer. That would be a better way of testing your students, rather than the first one that was in the previous slide. Going on to the next slide. Yeah, sometimes again, when you're constructing a rearrangement test that has a multiple choice, you might need to have what you call a word order. For example, if and this word order has to do with inversion. You know, sentences. This is a bit of grammar to do with inversion. So, for example, if you look at the example there, everyone's forgotten which cup he used. In that case, that is an inverted sentence. If you look at the other one, the last one especially, Leeds United should have won. Just think how they were unlucky. So in that case, this is an inverted sentence. You can also test your learners using this kind of rearrangement tests that has to do with inversion sentences. Going on, thank you. The other way that you can use a rearrangement test is in the construction of ordering adjectives and positions of adverbs. You know about adjectives, how you're supposed to order them according to size, according to age, according to shape, and all that. So this is another, when you're constructing a multiple choice test, you might need to use rearrangement when you're positioning adverbs or when you're ordering adjectives. For example, if you look at the last example there, only Dash being rude to you. So the students now have to choose only have I ever once been rude to you. So in that case, now you're ordering or you're positioning the adverbs as they should be. That's something else you can use with your learners. Going on. Yes. And lastly, it's the construction of completion items. So sometimes your learners you might use these kind of tests so that your learners might complete some items. So here they are expected to insert the most appropriate word. And these omissions can be like in function words. We all know about the function words. They also called grammatical: to, it, in, is, the, and then the content words. And you can see the content words. These ones now are in, for example, in a reading test, you might have your learners completing a test like this. So like if you look at the example there, the old man enjoys looking maybe after children playing. So what is happening here is that your learners will need to complete such an item. So that is just another way of constructing a multiple choice test. Going on.
Yes. I take it from
Yeah, I think that is yours. Yes. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Stella. Yeah, okay. This is construction or transformation items. We use those to test the ability to transform the structure um, by using some other words. They provide a balance. Why do we use those transformation items? To provide a balance in tests containing multiple choices. So they provide balance. They are considered objective items to test composition writing skills. So rewrite each of the following in different way, beginning each of them with the words given. Make sure the original meaning is the same. This is just an example. So the first example, I haven't written to you for a long time. Then we ask the students to start the sentence by it's a long time. So it's gonna be, it's a long time since I have written to you. For example, the second example, in the sunny weather, I often go for a walk. Um, when the weather is sunny, I often go for a walk. Old Mr. Jones, number 3, likes to look at the children playing. It's gonna be old Mr. Jones enjoys looking at the children playing. So the structure of the sentence is gonna be changing, and we do that to create balance, as we said. And then if the teacher gives such questions to the students, he'll be able to test their composition writing skills. Transformation item that explains about the range or areas as follows. We have different type. They explain about the range of areas. They are as follows. Example for that would be, it was impossible to work under those conditions. So if we had to use the word working in the beginning of the sentence, it would be something like that. The students would probably change the whole structure, because it's going to be working under those conditions was impossible. Second one, I don't think it's necessary for you to stay any longer. I don't think you need to stay any longer. I was able to leave the office early yesterday. So here are some examples. The first one, Joe can sing better than you. You cannot sing better than Joe. So mainly, if we ask them to use those words, they'll be able to change the structure, and then we'll be able to test their writing skills and their grammatical skills as well. Transformational items, difficulty of restricting possible answers. Sometimes the teacher wants to test whether the students are restricting their answers or not. Because, for example, if me, I am teacher, I want to ask them about specific um, a specific item or specific aspect of the grammar, then if I ask them, I should consider that maybe the question I'm asking them should probably have possible answers, not just one, but many answers. So example for that would be, I haven't written to you for a long time. We can write it in many different ways. It's a long time since you wrote to me. Since you received a letter from me, it has different formation variations, I mean. Another example, I don't think it's necessary for you to stay any longer. Possible answers for that would be, I don't think you need to stay any longer. This could be a possible answer. I do not think you will find it necessary to stay any longer. This is another possible answer. Note, sometimes it's really difficult to elicit the particular form we wish to test the students for. As the last examples given, for example, they could have different answers, possible ones, not just one answer. So the students may be confused. So if we need to give the students questions that are clear cut, so they don't get confused, we have to give them examples that the answers for that could probably be in one, not many answers. For example, they believed that the Earth was flat. The Earth was believed to be flat. This item type is a useful variation of the previous type discussed, but sometimes restricts the kind of transformation possible since the first word. We had it different, but then this is the structure that could be used by the students then, so they don't get confused. A transformation can also be affected by requiring students to substitute a given verb in a sentence. The verb used will probably cause the whole structure to change accordingly. Examples for that, 10 lessons make up the course. For example, if I told the students, please, instead of make up, just make use of the word consist. So the whole structure would change because we use different vocab, different verb. So it's gonna be the course consists of 10 lessons. The whole structure of the sentence is changing right now because it was starting by 10 lessons, but now if we use consist, it has to be 10 lessons coming at the end, and we have to add a preposition. Another example, couldn't go swimming yesterday. If I use the word allow, I wasn't allowed to go swimming yesterday. As we can see, the whole structure of the sentence is changing as well. Note, context makes the difference, but that has nothing to do with the structure the testers wants to test. Students usually tackle every sentence devoid of others when in a test. They are not connecting the sentence to each other. They are just trying to tackle every sentence on its own, devoid of other sentences, even if they are related to each other by theme. So the following examples illustrate each of the sentences for transformation can be made to form part of a continuous sentence. The first one, changing sentences according to a given pattern. Example for that, very few objective tests allow for choice. Then you have to, for example, B, however, the instructions should be carefully checked. If you are reading this kind of question, you have to read the instructions very carefully. So to be able to tell the way that the teacher or the tester wants you to give answer for that question. Second point, changing sentences by using selected words. The first one was changing sentences according to a given pattern. The second one is changing them by using selected words. Number A, remember that it's not necessary to answer the questions in the order set. Need. For example, we say, remember that it's not, you don't need to answer the questions in the order set. Number B, you are advised to check your answers carefully after each question. If we are required, we ask the students to use the word advisable. It's gonna be advisable that you check your answers carefully after each question. So the whole structure changing by using some selected words or by using a specific pattern. The changing of words. This type of item is useful for testing the student's ability to use correct tenses and verb forms. We have blanks, and the students are asked to provide the accurate and correct answers. They have to consider verbs, tenses, word building. The continuity of the text is not impaired or not spoiled more than necessary by having both blanks and underlined words, because underlined words are employed in a sentence that makes the risk of having ambiguous meaning less, because the context is already clear. So, for example, the first point is about verbs, how to test that they can use verbs accurately. Researchers to convince that a drug, then we are supposed to add blanks. Let me think about researchers. Um, Researchers are convinced that a drug they
test
can improve the memory.
Convinced that a drug they tested can improve on
Yes,
the testing.
And that it is to be the forerunner of other drugs, which will eventually how to do it. I didn't think about the solution yesterday. But anyway, maybe this is good practice for you, for all of you. So the second one is going to be word building. Students who were given the drug for a fortnight did considerably. We have to change the format of the word according to the right structure. So did considerably. Well, I don't think well needs to be changed in tests than others. The tests which are included, or maybe the test included the memorization of less words, as well as informing how to do it. Yeah, inform. Mainly, it's about to change the structure according to the grammatical form that's supposed to be used. During the first week, there was no notification, or noticeable difference, noticed difference between the two groups. But after a fortnight, the group on the drug was found to have increased its ability. Able is going to be changing into be ability to learn by almost 20%. I think it doesn't change. We don't change anything when it comes to 20%. Some of them needs to be changed, some of them remain the same. So mainly about we have a word in a morphological format maybe, or in a grammatical format, then we have to change it to be fit in the context that we have to use. Then that will be able to test the grammatical skills of students and their understanding of the vocabulary very well, because they have to manipulate using them by changing them and being able to choose or make use of the verbs and tenses accurately. So construction, another item would be broken sentence items. It tests the ability of the students in constituting or consisting full sentences from a group of words and phrases that we were practiced previously in a class. So mainly the teacher, he is going to be testing the students whether they have the ability to rearrange words that are kind of not in this order to make sentences that's full and understandable, which may have just been practiced in class. They should be practiced in class so that students do not get confused. It also helps the teacher to test the grammar of the students, grammatical skills, and other linguistic aspects of the language. It also helps the students to get high scores because it's gonna be easier for them. They can do it easily. Students need to read the instructions very well, so they decide how to make the sentence according to the instructions given. Example: enough sleep every night. There be limit, degree, and span. So it's gonna be something like that. There. How to do it? There every night. Can anybody see how to rearrange it? Enough sleep every time. I think we can add other elements from ourselves. Enough sleep. Maybe we didn't have enough sleep. We don't have enough sleep every night. There should be a limit. There should be a limit of degree and span since we do not get enough sleep every night. Maybe something like that. Yes. The following examples illustrate how each of the sentences for a transformation can be made to form a part of continuous sentence. First, changing sentences according to a given pattern. That was the last slide, please. Already said that, yes. Construction, pairing, and matching items. In this type of question, it comes in the form of dialogue, for example, stimulus and response. For example, a question in a dialogue and then needs answer, needs responses. So the question is going to be the stimulus, and the answer or responses given is going to be the responses to those stimulus. So it tests the ability to select correct and accurate answers in response to stimulus. It's presented in the form of a daily situation, so probably we have contextualized conversation. It also tests the grammatical skills of the students. If they didn't follow grammatical rules very well, they wouldn't be able to answer. An example for that would be column 1 and column 2. They are supposed to match both of them. They are supposed to be grammatically matching with each other and according to the context as well. For example, going to see a film tonight, then the answer is gonna be F in column 2. Actually, yes, I probably will, something like that. I don't need to read all of them because that is gonna be consuming a lot of time. But maybe this is just a practice for you if you're gonna test your students later in job. So construction, combination, and addition items. I think this is the last one. It gets used a lot in tests, previous and former tests. Usually it involves mechanical answers because the mechanicals provided by the student is going to be mechanical. Sentences have a specific theme but cannot be contextualized in real life. So they not express situations in real life. They are not contextualized as they are mechanical answers. First, combination items. We do that by joining two sentences by using the word between brackets, for example. So example for that, you finish the paper, then check your answers carefully. So we have to use the word after. Then after you finish the paper, check your answers carefully. So we just joined both of the sentences. We drop the word then, and then we added the word after in the beginning of the sentence. Number B, some questions may be very difficult. They should be left until later. If we use the word which, some questions which are difficult should be left until later. The questions which may be difficult should be left for until later. So the whole structure gets changed and both of the sentences joined to be one sentence, one long one, by using which and by using after. The second one is going to be additive items. So the first one was combination items by joining both of them using words in brackets, and the second one is adding items. Students are instructed to insert a word in capitals in the most appropriate position in the sentence. Example for that, yet, have you answered all the questions? So of course we would make use of the word yet in the end of the sentence. It's going to, in the end of the question, so it's going to be, have you answered all the questions yet? Number B, still, Some students hadn't got mastered the correct techniques for answering examination questions. So some students still hadn't mastered the correct techniques for answering examinations questions. That was it, and I hope it was very clear. Thank you so much. Hello.
Okay, yeah.
Yes, we explained everything in detail, I mean, but we
Yeah.
didn't take much time. But sorry.
Okay, thank you.
Most welcome.
For Hen, Farouk, and Stella, right? Yeah.
Stella and
For
Iba.
yeah, Stella, yeah. For presenting the grammar test, I suppose it is well organized, and then so from the presentation we can get the whole picture of the grammar test. So especially about we should note about the balance between multiple choice and non-multiple choice. So if you only design the whole test for grammar only multiple choice, so there may be any speculation, meaning uh, we are not sure whether the students master the points what we are testing. Let's say like in the past there was a case that is my colleague, so he could get the high score for TOEFL because of only we say silang indah gitu ya, speculation, merely speculation, because basically he is still in the basic level, meaning not knowing about the grammar, but he could get more than 100, more than 500. Yeah. So the examiners were what confused about the result, and then trying to track down whether what there was a cheating, meaning from the neighbors, but it turned out not. And then he confessed to me because he's also a friend of mine, my neighbor. Well, the Pak Arno, I just silang indah. So that is kind of miracle. From the fact that he belongs to the lower basic level, yeah, but he could get more than 500 score in TOEFL. That is the kind of the not logical, because based on the, so that is why, as Ethan said, to make a balance between multiple choice and also non-multiple choice. Let's say like uh, the challenging one, yeah, because we also, it's quite hard to complete, yeah, about changing the form of words, yeah, the constructing items involving the changing of words, meaning the whether using infinitive or whether using present participle or preterite or past participle, meaning the bentuk apa itu infinitive yang tadi ing form or ed form or past participle. So here we, yeah, for the testee need to master, meaning he or she or they should belong to the advanced level, yeah. Otherwise they will be useless to test the, so you should be wise enough to combine those two. So let's say if you have 20 points, 20 numbers for grammar, so you may have like the multiple choice 10, or and then the rest, so you could vary the, and also each point should have different what point, meaning bobot, yeah. You know what I mean? Let's say for the non-multiple choice, let's say like uh, completing a sentence or transformation, so it should have more points compared to multiple choice, because in multiple choice there is a possibility of just speculation, ya, the bisa silang indah. But for changing the form of words, so someone needs to master certain aspects of grammar. Let's say like the combining two sentences using which also is quite challenging, meaning it should belong to the advanced level, or some certain what conjunctions, yeah? Like when to use because of and when to use only because, yeah? Or although or in spite of. So I suppose yeah, those types of tests will be quite challenging, yeah? Because if you don't know yet about when to use, let's say, in spite of versus although, so I suppose he or she couldn't complete the sentences, or like the because of should be followed by a phrase, and then because is followed by a clause.
Yes.
Although it is raining, and then if you use in spite of the rain, so followed by a phrase, and so on. Okay, now the 4 questions and answers. So you could again show the PowerPoints, the slide from
Yes.
slide
Yes.
1.
Yes, alright. Yes. Hello, Ba, can you see the screen?
Yeah, okay, yes. So here you have many types, and then you can choose, you can select which are supposed to be suitable for the the
test.
examinees, and
Yes.
the students you're going to try out. Also considering their level, yeah. Also you can check, for instance, like Erwina's group, and then you can check with the teacher about the curriculum, syllabus, and the materials being given to the students, and then you can match your test material. So whether they are in the first or second year or the third year.
Would you like
Okay,
me to
and
turn?
the question, sorry, and Farouk?
I know. I was asking, would you like me to turn to another slide?
Yeah, okay, please.
Okay. Makes a lot of sense. But multiple choice.
Yeah, okay, the type 1, please, type 1.
Yes. It was constructing
Constructing, yeah, okay, this is okay, understand.
the first one was multiple choice, I think.
Yeah, okay,
Yes.
just stay still, not keep
Okay.
not keep moving.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so here the example of which one is supposed to be what the types commonly used. Like type 1, I suppose is not practical, because as Ethan says, it would disturb the flow of the sentence, because you put the choices options between the sentences, or So type 2 and 3 are preferred, but also for type 3, and then you will find the difficulty in in typing the options, and so you could see here the thumb out not 2, yeah. So you have tell, having told, detailing, have told. So you have like, what do you call the verb phrase gitu kan? Having told gitu kan?
Yes.
Detailing.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Having told.
And then number, yeah, type 4, ya, type 4. Bit ditarik ke atas sedikit, ketutup tulisan saya juga ada nih. Type 4. Tutup itu loh, icon itu loh. Okay, for up to now, any questions? Yeah.
No, but thank you so much.
Yeah. Okay, next slide, please.
Yes. Here it is, but next slide, yes.
Yeah. So you have type 5, type 6, and type 7. Yeah. So auto belongs to the obligation. Can you tell me other types of obligation? Obligation meaning kewajiban, wajib gitu ya.
Yes.
Can you tell me other types of obligation? Meaning types of verbs for obligation. Yeah,
yeah, like ought.
Yeah.
I think.
Yes.
By
So we
using
have the out, and then what else? The I'm obliged to. Yeah. Should.
I have
And then
to.
have to, must. So those belongs to obligation. So you have the gradation, yeah, gradation. From the strongest, like I must study harder. I must study harder. So like if you don't give stress, I must. Yeah. And then I have to. Yeah. I'm obliged to. I ought to, and so on. Those belong to the application. So when you make options, and then you should be careful upon the gradation. Yeah.
Yes.
So here in the type 7, meaning the student is supposed to interpret the meaning of Tom or not to have told me. So after to have told me, meaning what perfect forms, untuk perfect form. So Tom did not tell me, but he should. Perhaps Tom may not tell me. Tom told me, but it was wrong of him. It was necessary for Tom not to tell me. So which I suppose the best choice?
Which question? Which one?
Yeah, type 7. Type 7. Tom ought not to have told me. Tom seharusnya tidak memberitahu saya kan, to have told me.
Number C.
Yeah, see, Tom told me, but it was wrong of him.
Yes.
Yeah, because actually Tom is supposed not to tell me,
To
right?
tell him.
But he
Yes,
did.
tell me.
Yeah. But he did.
Yes,
Yeah.
number C.
Ought not to have. Seharusnya tidak memberitahu. But the fact Tom told me.
Yes, sudah memberitahu. Yes.
Yeah, like let's say I should have taught English this morning, and then you can make some options. But I suppose it belongs to the advanced level and to interpret the sentence like I should have taught English this morning. So the fact I did not teach English this morning.
Yes.
And then you have the 4 choices like type 7. Okay, and any question or comment from from you, from the audience? Yeah? Question for the presenters, and Farouk and Stella.
And Yvonda also, Yvonda was part of our
Yeah.
presentation.
Sorry?
Yvonda.
Ifunda. Oh, Ifunda, sorry, yeah.
Yes,
Ifunda.
we were 3. Yes.
Yeah. Ifunda, Stella, and you, right?
Yes, yes, Pa.
Yeah, okay. Okay, next slide.
Yes.
Okay, before I forget about the choices of sun. So you have the sun, a sun, some sun, and what? Sun with what
You want
article? Okay, and my question is why when we write the sun, we always with article, we always write with the article, definite article the, yeah, the sun. Why not the sun? Why not the?
because we only have one sun. It's definite. So we say
Yeah,
the sun is shining brightly today.
yeah, because the sun is the only thing in
Sun.
the world, meaning the only thing. So that is
Yes.
why we always write the sun. Can you give another example? So you should write with the definite article for the only thing in the world.
Mm. The Mississippi River, for example.
Yeah, the Mississippi River on the Mexican government because the only thing in the world,
Yes.
the Mount
Yes.
Everest. That is the. Yeah. Okay. Next.
Yes.
So here it is similar to TOEFL. Yeah. So when
Yes.
you
Yes.
identify the error, so it is quite hard to, let's say, like making 4 options A, B, C, D. So the best way you just underline one word or one phrase in the sentence as shown on the example type 1. I do hope you wouldn't mind waiting for such a long time. I'm worried that you'll be angry to me. So
With
it
me.
is similar to TOEFL. So also you can construct such a thing. It is also quite challenging. So if you don't know grammar and then because by sorry, it is kind of the how far or how high your language sense of language is. If your sense of language is not yet high, meaning you are quite competent, so you cannot identify the mistakes. Let's say like the angry to me, and so it should be angry with me. So you should know when to use preposition like the familiar with, similar to, I'm afraid of, interested in. So you have to memorize those prepositions. And then if you are not sure, then check with the Honpe or now you catch it. Also, so I went there by foot. So like I go by car, I go by bike, but if you walk and then not by foot, but what is it? On foot, yeah, something like that. Okay, next the slide.
Yes.
Sun is shining and looking the children. This type of error cannot be tested by the first item of the error recognition type. Okay, and the next type, next slide.
Yes. Yes, bro.
Also about word order is word testing as well. The word order, urutan kata, word order. So let's say in the TOEFL, you combine between what two clauses. Let's say like, can you tell me where is the post office? Yeah, can you tell me actually? So in the second clause, you should not put in the question because you have the main clause. Can you tell me? Can you tell me where the post office is? Not where is the post office.
Yes.
So you could also test that kind of word order, urutan kata gitu ya. Dan sometimes it is quite confusing. Ya.
Yes.
Okay, and the next.
Yes.
Well, you know how warm and how warm it is, not how warm is it or something like that. Yeah.
How is it warm?
The Sufi, you know how warm
Is it today?
it is.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so just pay attention when you design your grammar test. Yeah. I suppose it is quite interesting to do. It does not involve like the recording or looking for the video or the audio for on the script. So as recommended before, for the whole test, the around 50, yeah, the maximum, and then the minimum is around what is it, the 35 or 40, something like that, and it will take around the most is 1 hour or 45 minutes. So depending on, so if you combine between multiple choice and also fill in the blank or even transforming. So it will take more time, and then you should give different points in depending on the difficulty of each points. You know what I mean?
Would you please explain again, Pa? Sorry.
Yeah. How do we say bobot? Yeah. Bobot in English, point, meaning, let's say if you give, let's say multiple choice 10, and then so you give the score 1 point for each number, but and then you have another type that is not multiple choice, but you are supposed to combine two clauses or two sentences. So meaning that it will be more difficult, and then you, let's say 5 numbers, and then you give the each number, let's say 2 points on the score. You know what I
Yes,
mean?
yes, yes.
Because
Thank
it
you.
is more difficult to construct or to combine sentences compared to
Multiple
just
choices. Yes.
what, choose
Multiple.
the options, yeah.
Yes.
Or completing the sentences, yeah, similar to the combining. Let's say you only write the meaning, the main clause, and then a student is supposed to complete the whole sentence. So you make it at least 2 points, and then you can calculate the whole points if the students are able to, yeah, to answer correct answers from the whole numbers, let's say like 50 or. So if you have different points, and then you don't have to have like, let's say 50 numbers, but you may have less, but the points will be, yeah, if you have 50 numbers, so the points will be more than 50, because you have different points for each section. Let's say like the reordering, also it is quite reordering or completing, let's say like the last section, uh, writing complete sentence from the, what is it, like phrase, yeah, the,
Do you mean that, Pa?
yeah, no, constructing broken sentences, sorry.
Oh, yes.
Constructing broken sentence items is quite uh, tough for the testing, yeah.
Yeah, just a minute. Yes.
Because you just give the phrase, yeah, the broken sentences, and then they are supposed to write
And
the
here the
complete version. So if he or she doesn't know the grammar, so I suppose it will be hopeless for completing, yeah, the questions. Also constructing item involving changing of words,
yes.
the similar difficulty, I suppose. So you have to know that is like the researchers convinced that a drug, yeah, and they are testing on the test, yeah, can improve the memory, and that, yeah, it and then to be, yeah. Jadi forerunner meaning the what, apa namanya, pelopor gitu ya, the pendahulu. That it would be in the forerunner of other drugs, which, yeah, eventually improve mental ability, something like that. Yeah. So as long as it is for open question, as long as it is logical or acceptable, and then you could give the right points. Because for open question, there can be some possibilities for possibilities. Not one correct answer, but there can be 2, 3 possibilities for the answer. Okay, the question, comments about the grammar test.
Thank you, Bob.
Okay.
Pak, can
Yeah.
can I ask
Okay,
question?
please.
Yeah, actually, I would like to ask about the scoring for the group project, group test project.
Yeah.
So if you don't mind that, I would like to share the screen now.
Okay, please.
So this is I have revised from last Wednesday review, sir.
Yeah.
So this is the speaking test. This is the material, but actually because you just mentioned about the scoring, so how to adjust the scoring of speaking here? Because now I put the, how do you say, the scoring rubric I took from Douglas Brown's book like this.
Yeah.
So this is the material, and this one is this scoring. And I have three parts like this. First is word repetition. The second one is phone pass. And also the scoring I put like this. There is some numbers with some explanation. And also the third one is the picture cue tags like this.
Yeah.
And the scoring is similar to the first one.
Yeah.
So how to adjust
So it will be oral test, or?
Yes, sir. It will
should be direct test, right? Yeah.
Yes, direct test.
Yeah. It's because
And
like the acceptable pronunciation, yeah.
yes.
And then comprehensible, partly correct pronunciation, and then silence, meaning silence or seriously incorrect pronunciation. So it's kind of the what when one is not yet finding the words, and then he or she will say or to fill the what hesitant failures, it is called. Well, you know, or belongs to. Then total score. Yeah, I suppose it's okay. It's when the overt repetition, meaning it is kind of the minimal pair, right? To pronounce,
Yes.
it is minimal pair. Wonder, yeah. Take, yeah. Soldier, yeah. Soldier. Accept, yeah. And then, yeah, it is called minimal pair. Yeah, yeah, I suppose it's okay for you. You use the Brown's rubric, yeah.
Okay, thank you, sir.
And yeah, any other questions?
I'm hoping there's the member of my
so
group.
please make sure the quality of when it is oral test, make sure the quality of recording, yeah, right? Make sure to guarantee the quality of the sound for your recording. Otherwise, it will be a problem for you to score. Let's say for testing the minimal pair, or because you rely on the sounds. So as Pak Agus Bianto, he has kind of the, what do you call, analyzer or phonetic analyzer. So based on the system, so it can be downloaded as per Agus. So let's say for minimal pair, and then it is necessary for you to use that application. So it will be convenient for you to rely on that application. It is called phonetic analyzer. Let's say for such tests for minimal pair. Also to distinguish between idiom like the whether using unvoiced diphthong or voiced diphthong. As I told you before about the difference between K and G, and the K and G like the X for itu telur. So you have the voice diphthong. So the vocal cord vibrates, but for K, so it doesn't vibrate. Let's say like for the idiom worst and worst, danced and worst, danced. Yeah. But for like started, wanted is very clear. And then also for the plural form, sometimes we mispronouncing plural form as like language should be languages, senses, and so on. So you could consult Pak Agus about that application, Erwina, if you. It is called analyzer or phonetics analyzer, or I forget the name, but once he tried to, I pronounce two verbs, let's say like danced and Worcester, and then analyzed by that application. As Pak Agus Subianto, so he has that application.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, yang lain, the other questions? And before we close I would like to show you about the, let's say, the order or aspect to be analyzed. So in the language testing project, I added from written chapter 11, Can you see on the screen?
Yes, Pa. You can see frequency distribution.
Yeah. So for the first step, the order of your what do you call analysis, using the interpreting the score, after you do scoring, let's say, so here as the example, table 1, so you have the number of testi, jumlah yang dites, the number of testi from A to should be around 20 or so, and then mark here, it is the raw mark, raw mark, raw score. So you have the notes upon the around 40, or so you have the raw score. Let's say like testi A. For testi A, he gets 20. For testi B, he gets 25, and so on. That's right. And then you have rank. The from the based on the order of whether someone gets the highest score or lowest score. So like for test TD, yeah, so you have the 35 rank 1 and so on. And then you have the, that is table 2, yeah. Table 3, tally or frequency. Yeah. Like who gets 35 score, so only one. And then who gets the 26, the 5 students and so on. That is the first step in your analysis, and then you can go on to next what table. Yeah. So you can just perhaps you can use the first one. It is in the form of polygon. Yeah. So this is I suppose is clearer. Then next you are supposed to have like the measures of central tendency, yeah? Mode, median, and mean. Yeah, so from the whole, as I suppose I have stated in the guidelines, so the order of analysis, including item analysis to distinguish the what difficult item or less difficult, or you have like the which belong to the top scorer or upper level and lower level and so on. Let's say if you have 20 and then you may have like the 10 upper, 10 lower, or and so on. Yeah. Okay, so you can read by yourselves on the rest. Okay, any other questions, comments? So this is the last meeting and then you will have long holiday. And then we meet again next week or
But we have a lot of assignments.
some other, sorry, and Farouk?
I say we have a long vacation, but we have many assignments.
Yeah, yeah, and while while typing the assignments, and then you have you can enjoy your holiday. Enjoy your holiday while working, yeah, right?
Yes.
Also, for me, yeah, while having holiday, I have correction. Yeah. I am supposed to correct the students' work.
Yes, but so both of us we don't have vacation, so it's
Yeah,
virtual vacation.
yeah,
So it's okay.
yeah, and so going to what do you call? Going to your hometown or your sweet home, it means you will get the heavy traffic jam, yeah, heavy traffic jam. Let's say from Jakarta to Jogja or to East Java, yeah. Or from Semarang to Egypt or to Pakistan, so you can fly, meaning you don't have the traffic jam.
Yes.
Okay, so if you don't have any questions, we can stop now, and thank you for joining the class. And also for those who celebrate the Idul Fitri, I would like to say Selamat Hari Raya Idul Fitri dan mohon maaf lahir batin. Yang tua banyak salah gitu ya.
Ya Pak, selamat Hari Raya Idul Fitri. Mohon maaf lahir.
Iya, sama-sama itu ya.
Ya, Pak.
Thank you,
Happy
sir.
Idul
Okay,
Fitri.
you're welcome. Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, you're welcome.
Thank you, Pak.
Okay, you're welcome.
But would you please mark our attendance? You mean?
Oh yeah, okay.
Because
So let
yes,
me
please.
check.
Yes.
Yeah, let me check your attendance. So
Thank you so
so
much.
everyone is here now? Everyone is present?
Yeah, everybody was present. Yes.
Okay.
So should we leave the meeting?
Sorry?
Can we leave the meeting?
The next meeting? Yeah, after the holiday, on which day? On the 6th or? Mbak Erwina kapan itu yang masuk lagi?
Mbak Edwina sudah keluar. Sudah keluar.
I see.
Yes.
Yeah, so we have like around 3 days or 1 week holiday. So check in the schedule and
Yes. Yes.
okay, I have checked everyone. Please
Thank you
check
so
for your
much.
own. Yeah, I have checked everyone, I suppose.
Thank you so much, Mbak. Have a
Okay,
great
you
day.
will.
Tolong Mbak kalau sudah pulang ke Jogja, sampaikan
Yeah.
salam untuk Jogja. Udah
Oh
lama
yeah,
kan?
okay. Yeah.
I love Jogja. I love Yogyakarta
I
so
see.
much.
Yeah, and yeah, Jogja is my sweet home. Yeah. But
Yes.
I live in Semarang. Yeah. So.
Sebenarnya, I wish I could go to Jalan Malioboro again. It was so good. I like it there.
Yeah. Now it has different view because all the street vendors are moved to 2 buildings, and so you cannot find or see the sellers and the street vendors along the road.
Oh, really?
So it is just for the tourists. Also, you just go to the store. But if you want to buy any items from the street vendors, and then you have to go to 2 places. One is on the ex Dinas Pariwisata office, and the second is the ex of the movie Indra movie. So they were concentrated in 2 places for
Ada
street vendors.
di pinggir jalanan seperti
Yeah,
dulu.
no longer. So it's not allowed by the policymakers, by the government, because
it was very nice.
Yeah, too crowded but perhaps many of us enjoy in the being crowd, right? The jostling each other. Yeah, and
Yeah, I think this is the beauty of Malioboro, Pak.
yeah.
Sayang sekali kalau mereka bagaimana tidak
Yeah.
diizinkan.
So if you go to Jogja, so you will have perhaps the view is different because no longer crowded and only you can take a walk and it's more spacious, yeah, compared to the previous one, because on the street sellers to be concentrated into 2 places.
Yes.
The 3-story building, I suppose, at least. So I suppose you always say to go to upstairs on the 3rd floor, right?
Yes, but inshallah, I get to visit the place. Inshallah, I hope so.
Yeah. So when for graduation day, you have to visit Malioboro, the new Malioboro, yeah. When you graduate from S2, yeah, from S2 linguistics, the next semester, the next year.
I make sure inshallah to visit your place, but
yeah. Okay.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay,
have a great day, Pa, and happy Eid to you and your family members.
Thank you. Yeah, okay.
Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam.
Yes.